Luis, thank you very much. Muchas gracias. It's, again, very good to be with all of you today. Let me just say a few things at the outset before moving on to the agenda of this meeting. First, Luis, to you, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the great work that your team has been doing. And to my fellow foreign ministers, to our National Summit coordinators, to the OAS permanent representatives, to members of the Joint Summit Working Group, thank you for your partnership since the summit. I'm also very glad to welcome with us today Ambassador Frank Mora for his first Surge Ministerial as our permanent representative to the OAS. Frank, welcome. A year ago, at the Summit of the Americas in Los Angeles, our leaders made new commitments to build a more sustainable, a more resilient, and a more equitable region. Our country's pledged to invest in public health systems, to help communities adapt to the climate crisis and accelerate the clean energy transition, to improve digital access and connectivity, to safeguard our democracies. Over the last year, we have worked to make these shared goals a reality. Meeting in Lima to set benchmarks and working procedures to guide our collaboration, convening thousands of representatives from local government, civil society, and the private sector at the Cities Summit of the Americas in Denver, participating in 11 meetings to hear from a diverse array of technical experts, business leaders, members of youth and civil society groups from all across our hemisphere. As a result of these conversations, we developed an action plan on health and resilience. And today, I will ask this group to formally adopt that plan and chart a new course to strengthen public health in the Americas over the next 7 years. In doing so, we'll commit to investing more resources in our healthcare systems and workforce, improving access to health services from primary care to mental health support, boosting our emergency preparedness measures, and fighting non-communicable diseases like cancer and diabetes. We're also pledging to incorporate digital tools and new technologies like artificial intelligence into our healthcare institutions while safeguarding privacy. With this action plan, our countries will work to strengthen our public health infrastructure that's been put under strain by COVID-19 to ensure that it's more equitable and better prepared to detect, to prevent, and to respond to future public health emergencies. Later today, in the OAS General Assembly, we'll have a chance to advance another one of our shared commitments, our resolve to strengthen democracy. Together, we can enable our governments to make full use of the Inter-American Democratic Charter and expand our tools to build resilient democracies, from training young leaders to ensuring that the OAS electoral observers can operate free from threats, from harassment, or any other undue pressure. I'd also like to take a moment to share just a few ways that the United States has also made progress toward our commitments over the last year. At the Cities Summit, the United States launched our Cities Forward initiative, which provides $5 million to help urban areas in Latin America, the Caribbean, and the United States advance sustainability, equity, and climate resilience together. Under the America's Health Corps, the United States has also helped train 119,000 regional healthcare workers on everything from maternal health to tuberculosis prevention. And we are well on our way toward our goal of training 500,000 people over 5 years. We supported the clean energy transition, and we supported the clean energy auction Jamaica launched last month, through which companies can submit competitive bids to produce enough energy to power 10 million light bulbs in homes and schools and in businesses throughout their country. And as you all know, at the second Summit for Democracy, the United States and Costa Rica gathered our countries to discuss the Inter-American system and implementation of the Inter-American Action Plan on Democratic Governance, coming together to protect human rights, the rule of law, greater social inclusion, the foundational building blocks of every democracy. In the months to come, we will continue implementing our summit commitments alongside our partners, including by convening technology experts to discuss strategies for expanding connectivity, promoting open government, strengthening cybersecurity, and fostering inclusive growth. Later, during this meeting today, each country will also have a chance to speak about the work that they've done to turn pledges into action. We are eager to hear from all of you, and as we turn our attention to the 10th Summit of the Americas in the Dominican Republic in 2025, I'm looking forward to continuing the partnership that we built. With the dedication of this group, we can address the biggest challenge facing our nations in a way that none of our countries could ever do alone. By working together, we can build a future that actually delivers concrete results for our people. Finally, one personal note, I would like to thank Kevin O'Reilly, who today completes his service as the U.S. National Coordinator for the Summit. His tireless efforts, alongside your governments and so many colleagues, help ensure the success of two major summits in the last year, and we are very glad to have him join our mission in Nicaragua as our chargé d'affaires. So, with that, I think we can move to the agenda that we have. Luis, let me just ask if there are any other initial comments you'd like to make. Otherwise, we can turn to the agenda. Very good. All right. As I mentioned, our leaders committed to reach consensus on an action plan for health and resilience in the Americas in Los Angeles when they met last year. I think one of the things that we've all seen and that all of our leaders have seen are weaknesses that the experience with the pandemic revealed in our societies, in our healthcare systems, in our ability to respond. And they recognize the need to work together to try to strengthen health systems for everyone and prepare for future health emergencies. In response, the Surge and the Joint Summit Working Group worked diligently in a series of ad hoc technical group meetings to put together a concrete action plan. This effort, chaired by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, supported by governments from across our hemisphere, brought us together to chart a course to invest in health systems that work for all, that leverage technology appropriately, that prepare us for the next health emergency. To ensure that this action plan meets the needs of people in the Americas, the United States incorporated young people, private sector, civil society in the actual drafting and negotiation process to make sure that we had their recommendations and insights on the takeoff, not just the landing, and to ensure that our level of ambition actually meets the needs of people across the hemisphere. Adopting the plan takes us one step closer to a more resilient and more equitable hemisphere. So, I would now like to put forward the action plan on health and resilience in the Americas for your consideration and for your approval. The question before us is, can we adopt the action plan? All right. Thank you. Thank you. So, I am pleased to confirm the foreign ministers of the Summit of the Americas hereby adopt the action plan on health and resilience in the Americas. It's always good when it takes very little work to confirm a lot of work that's been done. So, thank you, everyone. Next, I would like to turn to another item, because in addition to chairing development of the action plan on health and resilience, we have also supported implementation of the other 4 political commitments that leaders adopted at the 9th Summit of the Americas in Los Angeles. Since chairing the ministerial meeting of the Surge on the margins of the OAS General Assembly last October, the United States, as I mentioned, has convened 11 meetings of ad hoc technical groups to advance implementation of Leaders Summit commitments and also to get feedback from our stakeholders. These included 2 meetings on Leaders, our Sustainable Green Future commitment, and 1 on the Accelerating the Clean, Sustainable, Renewable, and Just Energy Transition commitment, 2 on the Inter-American Action Plan on Democratic Governance, and 6 on the Action Plan on Health and Resilience in the Americas. These in-person and virtual meetings have brought together literally hundreds of experts from more than 25 countries to strengthen protections for environmental defenders, to promote green shipping, to strengthen coastal ecosystems, to encourage conditions to attract clean energy investment, to share best practices for delivering democracy democracy to our people and advancing their human rights. In April, the State Department and the City of Denver hosted the first City Summit of the Americas, following the commitment that President Biden and I made during the 9th Summit of the Americas. And I have to say, for those who were able to participate, this was, in my judgment, a remarkable and incredibly productive gathering. The summit brought together more than 2,500 people, including 250 mayors from across our hemisphere, to empower stakeholders and discuss how to best implement the commitments that leaders adopted at the 9th Summit, recognizing that the greatest responsibility for action and the greatest impact on these issues typically takes place at the local level. Working with city networks, international organizations, and other partners, we provided a platform for underrepresented voices to discuss issues like climate adaptation and also migration, on the same stage as prominent figures like the President of the Inter-American Development Bank and the head of government of Mexico City, reflecting our commitments to strengthen inclusive democratic governance. The summit allowed participants to have direct and substantive engagements with one another and prioritize practical solutions to our shared challenges. I have to say that when you see this in action, when you see people coming together from the municipal level, from the local level, particularly mayors who genuinely are, in all of our countries, problem solvers, where political differences, ideology are secondary, if not irrelevant, because the responsibility of these officials is to find ways to solve practical problems faced by their constituents. This is a very powerful dynamic, and the more we are engaged at these different levels across our hemisphere, the more we're sharing experiences and best practices, I think the greater effect we're going to have on actually making real and practical change. Given, from our perspective, the success of the first City Summit, it certainly should not be the last. And so we encourage the subnational conversation to continue. And we'd like to see the City Summit institutionalized as part of the greater Summit of the Americas process. We had, as I said, 3 days or so of remarkable gathering, but what really matters is what happens in the 362 days of the year. And my hope and expectation is that many of the contacts were made, many of the networks that were created, many of the dynamics that we helped energize at the summit are going to continue every day, and that we will find ways to bring people back together in this format going forward. So that's the report on the City Summit, and I think we're now going to, first of all, turn it over to you, Brian, and also open the floor to comments from delegations.